Hi, everyone. I'm here to give you a quick recap on the proposed changes in the New York State executive budget bill for 2023, particularly those that affect labor and employment. First, the budget bill proposes to add a new section of the New York labor law, which would be new section 202M, which would prohibit non-compete agreements with employees or prospective employees who earn less than the median wage as established by the New York State Department of Labor each year. That law would also impose limitations on otherwise permissible non-competes. So those are non-compete agreements with employees who earn more than the median wage as established by the New York State Department of Labor each year. And in order for such non-compete agreements to be enforceable, they would have to comply with all of the conditions and limitations enumerated under this new proposed law. And the law as proposed would include things like limitations on the term or duration, the scope of the agreement, etc., choice of law provisions. So that is something to keep in mind. Second, the proposed budget bill also includes a proposed amendment to General Business Law Section 340, which would prohibit non-poach agreements. And that would prohibit employers from entering or enforcing or threatening to enforce such non-poach agreements, which are agreements that prohibit or restrict an employer's ability to solicit or hire another employer's employees. Those provisions would go into effect 180 days after enactment if this is passed. Third, proposed increased criminal penalties for wage theft violations. The proposed budget bill also includes proposed changes to existing sections of the New York labor law, specifically New York labor law section 198A and New York labor law section 213. And those wage theft violations would be clarified in terms of with respect to penalties that would depend on the amount of the wage theft. So they've classified different types of misdemeanors up to felonies, depending on the amount of wages that were alleged to be stolen as per the New York labor law. In addition, the law would also allow courts to order restitution for unpaid wages as well. And fourth, there are proposed changes to the New York human rights law, which is codified under the New York executive law, section 296. Two big changes there. First is that the proposed budget bill would add domestic violence victim status to all of the jurisdictional areas within the New York human rights law. Currently, domestic violence victim status is a protected class as with respect to employment. So employers cannot currently discriminate against individuals based on their status as a victim of domestic violence. This proposal would change that to also apply to things like housing and schools, et cetera, and all those other provisions within the New York human rights law. And second, it would also add citizenship or immigration status as its own protected class. Currently, the New York State Division of Human Rights enforces such discrimination under the national origins or national origin protected class. So this would just officially and explicitly establish a protected class so that employers and others could not discriminate against individuals on the basis of their citizenship or immigration status. It's important to note for employers that the law would explicitly state that this would not affect an employer's right to verify an individual's citizenship or immigration status as required by applicable federal laws or other law. So, and any action or adverse action taken on because of that verification or as a result of that verification would not be prohibited, provided that that adverse action is required by that other applicable law. So under the New York State Constitution, the budget bill must pass by April 1st. So we will continue to monitor for developments and let you know of any changes and see if any of these provisions pass or if there's any other changes that occur between now and then.